It's the Bush League Mud Show.
It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
Yo, what is going on? Another edition of the Bush League Mud Show. Slade
PJ
coming at you. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And hit us up on social media at Bush League MS Pod. Follow us. We'll follow right back. This is your Raw review for February 21st, 2022. And here we go. This is the kickoff. It's officially Mania season. And this was a Raw that kicked off with kind of really in your face, getting to let you know that after they gave you a recap of which went down over the weekend with the Elimination Chamber that I know some people that watched, some people that didn't, and mainly because the event became what everyone knew it would be, pretty predictable in terms of the winners of the big matches, but you get a recap of that, and we get first off, kicking off Raw, we get, of course, the new champion, Brock Lesnar, coming down with the belt. He's all smiles. He's got the cowboy hat on again. Big-time babyface Brock.
Big time. I'm liking it.
He's slapping hands. He's getting little kids in the crowd to touch the belt, and he's just cackling and all of that. He gets into the ring, and he ends up removing his Christmas sweater, though. I don't know what the hell that was all. But
so it was getting a little hot. So
getting a little hot there in the arena. He immediately, as he had the mic in hand with the belt on his shoulder, he's engaging with the crowd that starts chanting the Suplex City. And he's even joining in on the fun as well. And then I thought this segment was shorter than usual for Raw and SmackDown, sweet to the point.
Yes.
Because it's Brock Lesnar, who will let you know that being on the mic is not one of his strong suits. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of fans don't want to see a 20-minute segment of Brock Lesnar talking anyways. Even guys that can talk. We don't want to see it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So before he even got this thing kicked off, they did it perfectly. He's immediately interrupted by none other than the man that he's been with the last 20 years, Paul Heyman.
Yes.
Paul Heyman comes down, and the crowd is giving him some "you suck" chants, and he's getting ready to talk with his ladies and gentlemen, but then Brock cuts him off, joins in on it, joins in on the "you suck" chants and tells Heyman to shut up. Heyman says he does not suck. He calls Roman Reigns the real heavyweight champion in WWE, so this is already kicking off what is to be a title for title, not necessarily a unification match. And I know you were talking about the things that were kind of irking you on social media with the fact that there were actually people, wrestling fans, who for whatever reason believed that the main event of WrestleMania would be a non-title match where neither belt would get defended.
Yeah, there was some smoke on the weekend after what happened at Elimination Chamber. They're like, well, on the poster, it does not say championship for championship. It just says Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. So, I mean, people were starting to throw all kinds of assumptions out there that there will be no title match at Mania. Yeah. No, maybe they've heard that because they're really now pointing to that fact.
Yeah. Well, he calls Reigns, Heyman, that is the real heavyweight champion in WWE, and Heyman has come out with love because, after all, they were very close partnership for the last 20 years, and he knows how Brock is looking forward to Mania, but he says there's a roadblock to Mania. He must defend the title in March at the Madison Square Garden house show that they were pushing big time in this segment.
Yes.
Because I'm going to assume this is going to be a Peacock event. I haven't read or seen official word, but you're making a big deal about this. And up until last week, there was talks that they, so far, have been struggling with the immediate sales of what they were projecting at this point for the MSG show. So I don't know. Maybe they're doing 2-for-1 deals at some point as well for the MSG show. Since
the
they're
MSG
doing
show
two for ones on the Mania. You said you ain't buying it on MSG.
I ain't buying that because what just got lifted in New York? Face mask restrictions, mandates. I mean, that I'm not I'm not going to get into the whole thing that the wrestling industry and some of the wrestling media want to just make, well, they're not selling out Madison Square Garden right now, so it's the end of the world. Things are starting to get back to normal, so I think people are going to be more comforting to go out and go to the event, and they're building the card up. I think they'll be fine with the attendance for the show.
Heyman's saying that he doesn't think that Brock will even make it to Mania as the champion, so... he says that he's always been the one over the years that even though Brock has been the muscle of the operation, he's always been the guy on the back end that's handled all the small details, which Heyman doesn't have that anymore, or which Brock doesn't have that anymore. Mm-hmm. We got Brock dropping the dick bomb on live Raw TV. Not sure who called that play, but... Of course, when Brock Lesnar's around, I guess he calls his own plays, right? Does he have freedom to call his own audibles? Well, he calls Heyman a dick, then thanks him for telling him where he's supposed to be, but he already knows. And Heyman's wondering if Brock knows if he's facing Bobby Lashley, who is now hurt after the Elimination Chamber, although there's talks that he might have been hurt in that Royal Rumble match after all those German suplexes. Now... For right now, we're seeing reports that Bobby Lashley could be out up to 4 months, and it looks like this may have to be something that they're going to have surgery on, which I'm almost sure he's probably going to have surgery, because if they're sending you to Birmingham to James Andrews, James is cutting on somebody, usually.
Yes, there's something going to be going on there. So, I mean, they threw Lashley's name up there for the match at MSG, but we'll see, card subject to change. We'll see if they put him in that match and then ride him off to the sunset or not. But if they put him in that match, it's hard for him to take another suplex from Lesnar with everything going on. So I don't see that happening.
Yeah, he says he doesn't know if he's facing Bobby Lashley, and if Bobby ain't cleared by then Heyman says that he will have a challenger ready for Lesnar at the MSG show. Brock ends up telling Heyman that he was doing just fine without him. And on Friday, Heyman will be in the ring with his boy, Roman Reigns, and Brock says that he's going to be there too. So that was the segment
Heyman
here.
thought he was going to be in Saskatchewan on Friday, but no, Brock said, I'll be in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yes, he will be in Hershey. Backstage, we get a segment, Seth Rollins, or at this point they've been so close together recently, I guess you'd call it Seth Owens. Yeah. But Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, they're backstage. They're talking about the chamber match. Kevin Patrick, he's backstage with the two, and he asks both guys, well, we're 6 weeks away from Mania, and neither one of them have a match. What's going on? Seth, he starts laughing. He says they have a path. Says Owens, and that they are the currently the best tag team, they believe, on Raw. They said they beat RK Bro just 2 weeks ago, and then last week Seth beat Randy. And then they ended up going to management, and they said later on during the evening they got granted a match they're going to have with RK Bro again, and they'll be added to the Tag Team Championship match in 2 weeks if they are able to win. So the possibilities there are endless with those two. So, I mean, I guess right now I think we have a good idea maybe of where Rollins and Owens are going to be. I don't expect these guys to be tag team champs anytime soon. Now, if certain things weren't reported within the last week or so, I would say these guys just might win the tag team belts if they don't have anything planned for them. But I think these guys are going to have plenty by Mania time, especially Owens.
If they're teaming up, I don't know if that match is going to be it.
Well, it's a little too good to be true, right? Because they've been on a winning streak, a massive winning streak lately. They've beat RK Bro. Spoiler alert, they beat him in the main event. We'll get on that in a bit, but
yeah, I mean that's the thing is they got to make them look strong if they're taking on a big time opponent at Mania, and they got to get on a roll here. So it'll be interesting how they book them.
From that tag team to another tag team, we actually had tag team action as our first official match of the evening on this show. Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. Dawkins and Gable, they end up starting this match. They're going back and forth. Ford tags in and hits a drop kick, cover for 1-2. And no, Otis, he's now in, and he body slams Ford down pretty hard and then sends Ford into the corner. Tags Gable back in, and Gable sends Dawkins off the rope, then shoves Ford, who holds on to the ropes. We get Otis, who's tumbling out. Gable, he's flying over Ford. Ford with a tag. Alpha Academy, they pull Ford to the outside, which that ends up Dawkins hitting the ropes, flips over the top rope to the outside as well. They get a break. They come back. I'll fast forward this thing because this match wasn't really it was designed to do what it was supposed to do, and that was to get the champs to win. So we get Ford trying to lift up Otis. Otis, he's too heavy, so Ford loses balance. Otis lands on him pretty hard enough to get a 1, 2, 3. So Alpha Academy still strong, still your champs. So, and I feel like these two teams have faced each other several times.
Yes.
Previously, a lot of times, even before they were champs. But solid. I mean, you know what you're going to get out of Street Profits at this point for them being in the match, and Alpha Academy. Chad Gable, man, he's just running with this thing, and Otis just being Otis. So they actually they do well together.
Yeah. They're kind of two teams going in opposite directions, too. I mean, a lot of momentum for Alpha Academy now and everything else. You can see them starting to – obviously, they're the champs, but they're getting more momentum and heat on them. Street Profits, man, always were in the title picture, but now breakup coming soon, I don't know. They need something to give them a little more buzz. I don't know.
We go backstage again. We see Tommaso Ciampa. He's backstage. He's got a match later on in the evening during the show. He talked about how Dolph Ziggler disrespected his home, being NXT. Says he feels no pressure. He says he'll take Ziggler on any night of the week, but since it's a tag team match and that they're on Raw, he knew exactly who to call. Then we get a pan over to the right. It's Finn Bálor, who says that Raw might be his home now, but he'll never forget where he came from or stepping in the ring with Ciampa. He mentions their past, but says tonight they'll start the road to Mania standing shoulder to shoulder, and we get into that match. So our first two matches of the evening back-to-back were tag team matches, and I was actually surprised about that.
Remember, Vince doesn't like tag teams, supposedly. Well, this show, it was heavy on the tags and the tag storylines.
Yeah, so we get this match. We get Finn Bálor and Tommaso Ciampa versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And this is a match. It's more to highlight. I mean, and this is sad that this is where we are at this point with Finn Bálor. Besides the entrance, once we got this match started, nobody gave a damn, really. I think the viewers and the people there, I mean, everyone knows that this is all about Ciampa and Ziggler.
Yeah.
Ziggler, he tries to distract Ciampa early on, which that allows Robert Roode to attack him from behind. Ciampa's then able to hit a back elbow to Roode's face and then hits a side headlock takedown, hooks the arm with his legs. We get at one point here after Finn Bálor tags in, Ciampa holds the ropes and then hits a high knee that allows. Then Roode ends up locking the head. Finn gives him a right, and then Bálor to the ropes, dives over the top to the outside. Fast forwarding more towards the end of this match, we end up getting Ziggler being sent to the outside. Spine buster out of Roode. It's only good enough for a 2 count. Then Roode ends up hooking the leg, the head. He ends up going for a suplex, but Balor's able to escape, hit a sling blade, and then he tags in Ciampa, who runs into an ELO. Roode flies off the top rope, high knee. Ciampa is able to double underhook.
Yeah.
And looking for a fairy tale ending. Roode rolls out, but Ciampa stacks him up for a pin, the 1, 2, 3. So there you go. This match went about the same amount of time as the previous tag team match.
Yep.
So
and a good pop for Ciampa from the live crowd. They were liking it. On commentary, they were saying this was an upset. They were saying, I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. They're continuing the theme that NXT ain't shit, because that's what the first words out of their mouth was. Oh, what an upset with Ciampa. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. It's like, come on, folks.
Yeah. We get next The Miz. He comes out. We get basically a Miz TV segment. He's there to basically just talk down to the crowd there in Columbia, South Carolina. Talks about how he's got more money and a hotter wife. And then he brings up Rey Mysterio Jr., saying that they are not that much different. They do whatever it takes to get ahead. And he says, we see ourselves in Rey, and because of this, we look past his misconduct. We choose not to see his humility, but because of this, we are the only ones that cannot be trusted. He's got a partner for Mania, someone that he says that he can relate to, that he can trust, a pioneer. And then he says someone very dashing. So he ended up playing into what has been reported. So, of course, you think dashing, you're thinking Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
But the cat had been out of the hat all weekend long in terms of who the partner was going to be. But
a
fighting
family.
And a fighting family, that's right.
That was a good one, too.
Rey ends up interrupting with Dominic. They say everyone in the back can't stand Miz, and whoever Miz can go right back. Whoever he chooses can go right back where he came from and give the spot to someone who actually deserves it. Miz, he talks about he knows what's best for this industry, and he's basically talking about Rey and how Rey really didn't defeat him and how it was all BS. So he gets at Dominic, who talks about, being around the locker room since he was 7 years old, being around WWE and all of that. So he should be there because Miz is crying nepotism for the reason that Dominic has been there. So Dominic goes on to say that it was his father that brought him there, but he'll do whatever it takes to stay there. It was a very long, drawn out, and I actually had to turn the sound down during the promo. It
took a while to get to where we needed to get to.
It didn't seem genuine, at least from Dominic. Anyways, Dominic ends up threatening Miz. Miz says no, and then this is what he proposes. His new tag team partner versus the Mysterios at Mania. And he introduces, and out comes Logan Paul.
Yes.
Who, of course, was being booed, obviously.
Yes.
Comes into the ring, grabs the mic. Now, we haven't seen Logan Paul since, what was
last Mania, I want to say, with the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens deal.
Was that already a year ago?
I believe it was.
I feel like we
Unless
saw
they
him
brought
even
him back
more
for
recent.
SummerSlam, but I
No.
that was maybe last Mania with him and Owens, and then Owens and Zayn and all that.
Yeah.
With the conspiracy thing.
The conspiracy thing and the camera. Yeah. So that's what we get. We get Logan Paul, who comes out. He's booed. He grabs the mic and says no disrespect to Mysterio, but he's got pool toys bigger than Rey. And then Dominic says if this jackass is going to be Miz's partner, then they accept. So Miz and Logan Paul, they end up attacking the Mysterios. Paul goes after Rey with some aggressive shots. He was laying it in. He and Miz, they're celebrating with some huge grins. They end up lifting Rey. They sent him into the ring post. They grab Dominic. They send him into the other ring post. Shoulder first, skull-crushing finales on both guys.
Yeah.
Logan actually hit one. I want to say he was the one that hit it on Dominic.
Yeah.
And it looked a little rough, so I don't know
rough,
how much they practiced that before they went on live. But Miz ends up grabbing Dominic, and, of course, as I said before, Logan Paul hits him. So there you go. We end the segment. Heels get their heat, and we move on.
I got to say good for Logan Paul because he looked a hell of a lot better than the last time we saw him come out. He was affected last year when the crowd was booing him and everything else, or when they were doing that in front of the live crowd at Mania. They really hijacked his spot, and he was kind of flustered. This, he came out, natural heel, loved it. So I don't know if it's because of the boxing thing and all that stuff. He's just getting used to it. But I got to give him props. He was pretty damn good in this segment on the mic and also tag teaming with Miz. And again, Miz gets the celebrity spot at Mania. Last year, Bad Bunny with him in the match and Morrison. This year, he's going to have Logan Paul with him.
And they're from Cleveland.
Yep, exactly.
Miz usually likes teaming up with his Cleveland guys.
Yep.
We get backstage segment again, Alpha Academy with Kevin Patrick. Gable, he gets very obnoxious, talks about his heightened acumen and how because Kevin Patrick's asking him questions, and Gable says, of course, we know the ramifications of the match, the main event. You know, I graduated 4.0. I'm smart, this and that. So he takes major offense to the possible inclusion of Seth and Owens, and he says if they are added, of course, their odds will go down. And he says Otis hates math, so either way, they'll be winning. Match number 3 on this show. We get a match of Rhea Ripley and Nikki A.S.H.
I thought we solved this issue at the Elimination Chamber, but apparently not. I haven't learned anything from the last year and a half.
This was the 100th time that these two have faced one another. Well, Ripley is able to win with a riptide, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you needed. That's all you needed. Quick, easy, get this thing done with and get Rhea somewhere near this title picture. Obviously, it's not happening at Mania, but get her back where she needs to be.
We end up then next getting another match that was, for the most part, pretty quick, about maybe a little over 3 minutes. That was Damian Priest defeating Shelton Benjamin.
Poor Shelton, man. Ugh.
And this was with Cedric Alexander out there to help him.
And again, they're claiming they're the Hurt Business. They're the only ones getting hurt. I mean, it's bad. It's Shelton too. I mean, great worker, can do a lot of things. Just being used kind of in the jobber role now. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, we get Priest hitting him with a surprise choke slam, and then he calls for the end of the reckoning. That gets hit. There you go. 1, 2, 3. So,
then he had the post-match promo because now I guess they were piping in boos for Priest. I'm still confused on what the hell they're trying to do with him. I know they're trying to do the split personality thing where he's the demon because it's Damien, but a priest. He's got to be a wholesome guy or bullshit like that. And they were piping in the boos while he was cutting the promo, saying, well, it's Mania season. I need a challenger. And it was just like, so they're going to make the guy a heel now.
Well, I think we kind of found out why here. He ends up grabbing the mic after the match, gave props to Shelton Benjamin, which was a babyface thing.
Yeah.
Says he's got a list of world champions that he's already beaten, serious fighters that stepped up to him. He still has the title, so yes, he wants someone to face next week of world championship caliber, and he's asking who's going to take the title from him. So we get, for the second time during the evening, Finn Balor's music hits. Well, so he comes out with a mic.
It was good to see Finn after the reports of hearing they're down on him. So it's good to see him.
It says Priest wants a serious athlete, serious fighter, world champion level opponent. Sounds like Priest is talking about him. So he says, be careful what you wish for, and says that he'll see Priest next week. So there you go. Match set, and it's going to be Damian Priest and Finn Balor for the United States Championship.
Should be a good one. So, I mean, obviously Priest will probably win, but it should be a good one with Finn in there.
Reggie, 24/7 storylines. Here we go. We get Reggie. He's out for some action, or maybe not.
He got some action.
He calls Dana Brooke out. He got the what treatment hard during this segment. Crowd did not want to see this shit.
No, they didn't.
Because he's already been friend zoned.
Exactly.
At least Otis was working his magic on Mandy Rose.
Yep.
I don't think he was ever really friend zoned. She was receptive to his gifts and his kind compliments. Dana Brooke just absolutely shut the door on whatever Reggie thought that he might have been getting, and the crowd thinks he's a loser now.
Exactly.
Because he's in the friend zone. But anyways, he saw an opportunity last week. He took it. He's been dealing with the guilt, and he ends up apologizing. He also wants to prove how much she means to him. This is simping to the fullest. I couldn't bring myself to really give a shit about this. But anyways, he calls for a ref. Here comes the ref. Reggie does the most unnecessary flippity-flop that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. He then lays down for Dana Brooke. He does a Jeff Jarrett to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
The lay down. Or the finger poke of doom lay down. Dana Brooke, she was very receptive to it. She laid down, she covered him, and then we got a 1, a 2, and a kick out.
Yes.
So Reggie ends up laughing, says he's kidding. Dana covers again for a 1, 2. Nope, not going down. Dana asks why is she even out there. She covers for a third time, and then she kisses Reggie to get the 1, 2, 3, which, like I said before, I thought that's probably what we were going for. Once he won the belt back, she would kiss him, do something to suck him in order to get it back. Anyways, how much makeup did Dana Brooke have on, man? This shit was all over Reggie's face after the pin.
Just the whole fucking thing.
Of course the goons come out.
Yeah.
And we get R-Truth who comes out.
Tozawa and Tamina, I feel sorry for, has got stuck in this shit too. She was just in the title picture, 6 months ago, and now she's
Tozawa
doing this.
puckers up for a kiss himself, and Tamina drops him. It's whatever. Bianca Belair, she comes out. She's in the middle of the ring to celebrate her win, as she is going to be going to Mania to face Becky Lynch. She won the Elimination Chamber for the ladies, and she says she's ready to run it back after losing her belt 26 seconds to Becky. She gives it up for the women that were in the match with her. She called them all very tough, said she's going to be facing Doudrop later on, which was going to be right after this segment.
Yep.
She said that there could only be one toughest, though, and that's her. She is the hardest working woman in WWE. That's when we get Becky Lynch, who comes out, and the hair, she had the whole hair thing going. She brings up yes, big-ass coat. She brings up being in the main event once again and says not to forget the only reason they are main eventing is because of her. Has nothing to do with Bianca. Becky, of course, reminds us that she walked out of Mania 35 as Becky 2 belts, and that she's been holding one of those titles for 3 years. If you count the before, gifting it in a briefcase to Asuka for Money in the Bank. So, Bianca brings up the 26-second loss and says that she could have given up and gone away, but she didn't do that. She listened to Becky. She went to the back of the line, then she beat everybody, won Elimination Chamber, didn't make excuses, and therefore she is not a victim. So Becky says, Bianca, she's right. It's actually Becky who's the victim. She said that the people loved Becky. She was the man of the people, and she came back at SummerSlam, got a hero's welcome. But then because of the fact that she beat, of all people, Bianca Belair, who was beloved by the fans, they all turned on her. And she said, we despise her now. Because of that, she despises Bianca. Because she stole the fans away.
Yes.
And she said that at Elimination Chamber, you saw what she did to Lita, who is someone that she loves, respects, and admires. So imagine what she'll do to someone that she despises like Bianca Belair. So this is... as Becky is calling it, a redemption story. So, since Becky wanted to play the victim, Bianca says, how about she makes her the victim right now? This is where Doudrop comes out. She wants her damn match. She ain't got time.
Got shit to do.
Yeah. We end up getting this match, and not to go move for move, but they go back and forth. This actually was a solid match.
Yeah.
They were able to, this was... without making Doudrop look weak, it shined a big-time light again on the athlete and the strength of Bianca Belair.
Yes.
I mean, there were a couple spots in this match. She, with pure strength, was able to manhandle, I guess she's a Doudrop.
Seeing some of the shit she did in this match, I mean, man for man, pound for pound, she has got to be one of the damn strongest people in the company. I mean,
AEW could only hold. I mean, I would think that that's the idea in AEW, what they're trying to do with Jade Cargill, right? Is make her to be that type of.
I think so, but I don't know if she would have that type of strength like Bianca. I mean, damn, she was just awesome in this match.
I gotta say, I thought at least on this show, if we're talking about matches, there were no awful matches, but I thought the two ladies, I thought they had the match of the show.
Yeah, I think so too.
They were the best. They were the best match,
especially like you said, to showcase what Bianca was doing in this thing.
Yep. So Bianca Belair, she was able with a power bomb. Let's see here, Doudrop. She climbed to the corner. Bianca went for the KOD. Got her on the shoulders. KOD out of the corner. 1, 2, 3. So that was how the match ended there. After this, Edge. He's out. He's in the middle of the ring. It's got a cheer. It's got some fresh kicks. Must have took some advice of Shane all those years in terms of the shoe game.
Yeah.
Says he wants to go back to Mania 3. He would sit beside his Uncle Wayne's radio and wait for the results of each match to come in, which... Where were these radio stations when we were little?
I guess only in Canada they had that going on. We didn't have any of that around here, I could tell you that.
Was Rougeau would he have been the guy? Well, no, Toronto. They don't speak
I don't know how the hell they were.
I'm curious who their radio guy would have.
Well,
been
yeah. What did they get? Was a Detroit station maybe?
Was Jack Tunney doing them
or what? Yeah, exactly.
Jack Tunney doing them for him.
Yeah.
Anyways, he talked about that. Said they will wait for the result. The results of each match to come in. Finally, the DJ says Hogan has body slammed Andre the Giant and beat him. Edge said that he would never forget it. His pulse quickens around the time of the year, and so Mania really means a lot to him. He says everyone back there understands the toll that it takes just to get on the show of shows, and that he knows this firsthand. His first Mania was 14, and he said it took him 2 more years to get on the show. And he knew at that moment that he needed to take every chance that he could and give a performance that elevated his career. And he said they did it. And in doing so, he understood the stakes, that every year that he was going to be on the card, he'd have to outdo himself. Mm-hmm. So at Mania 17, of course, the TLC match that people to this day talk about. And he said they stole the show there, and said he was thinking about Devon specifically, who we just saw this story over the weekend that the doctors have pretty much told Devon Dudley that
you ain't getting back
no more.
Yep,
Seems like big time back issues with him. But anyways, Mania 21, he talks about how he won the Money in the Bank. 22, he put Foley through the table. 24, he main evented in Orlando against Taker, and he came very close. He gave congrats to The Undertaker, who early in the show, they showed a pretty cool badass vignette promo for him as he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. You said, screw it, just have a Hall of Fame where he's just the only one.
That may as well. I don't think it can ever. I mean, the guy's been everywhere. Did you see he was at the Bad Bunny concert in Dallas on Saturday night?
Now, was he doing the intro on that one, too?
Bunny brought him out. He did American Badass on the Harley on stage, and he came roaring through as Bunny was on his semi-truck thing. I mean, he's all over now.
He's all over the place, man. So he got congratulated by Edge. 27, WrestleMania 27, he fought what was thought to be his last match. That was the match against Alberto Del Rio. He got forced to retire, but for a lot of people, that'd be enough. Not for him, though. Said he busted his ass for 10 years to get back to Mania. And last year, he main evented again. So for 38 years, Mania has been a kid's dream for him, and he's still that kid, and every year he still dreams about it and everything he does, all the energy he gives. So he can be phenomenal.
There it was, yeah.
As he said. So he says at Mania, he makes everyone and everything around him better. And at Mania, you fight your inner demons, you become undeniable, and that he needs Mania. They're calling it stupendous, but you can't call it that without Edge. So he says Mania needs Edge. He's throwing down the gauntlet. He's challenging everyone in the locker room. And he needs someone to step up that wants to prove themselves and stand across the ring. Stand across the ring against the man who is still the best in the industry today, certifiable legend, and is willing to fight Edge at Mania. So he says he'll make you live forever. So he's asking the boys in the back to step up. He'll be waiting. And, I mean, this has got to have AJ Styles all over, right? I mean, This is, he dropped the phenomenal tag out there. Mm-hmm. I said, a match I think a lot of people want to see is AJ and Edge. Yeah. There aren't really too many in the back that really Edge could have a match with that you would trust with the neck issues and all that, because they're still trying to protect Edge and make sure they preserve him for however long he wants to continue to do this. But AJ Styles has gone on record and said, the match that he wants a match with Edge. Yeah. And he says Edge wants the same thing. So I think that's what we're looking at there. And AJ, they've had, over the last couple of weeks, or they had a couple of weeks ago where he's talked about going into the Elimination Chamber, that he wants to go there. He still is yet to have that Mania moment that he's always wanted. So
yeah, and it makes sense too, because we've heard AJ, this is his last contract, so we don't know how many more of these he has. Edge as well, even though with the comeback, he's starting to get up there. So this match, if they're going to do it, they got to do it now, and I think it's the perfect time. Both guys need something. There's no one else bigger on the roster really for either guy to go at, so this makes sense.
Yeah. We get our main event after this. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins versus Riddle and Orton. The stipulation is Owens and Rollins, if they win, then they're included in on this whole thing to get after the tag team belts. I thought this was actually it was a fun match. If you really look at it, really over the last month, RK Bro has been a part of some ending segment on this show.
They're booking him the way the crowd is putting him over. So they're putting him in the main events. They're putting him in those main segments, and they did once again for this one.
Both teams, I thought, looked great. Of course, Orton and Rollins, they're in the ring together. Orton and Owens and no one, I don't think, ever really gives credit with how good of a worker Matt Riddle is either.
Yeah,
he really picked on
he's
this,
really coming
this thing.
Along.
He really picked up on this pretty fast too, which speaks volumes to the type of athlete that he is. But I thought this was a good match, a good way to end the show, and they were very sneaky about it. Rollins and Owens, that is. Rollins was able to sneak in a tag on Owens as he was being depleted in energy in the ring against Riddle. This was after Rollins had curb stomped Orton on the outside, so that took Randy out of the match. He snuck a backslap tag on Owens, and they were able to hit him with some super kicks, a stunner, a curb stomp, and that took out Riddle and RK Bro for the 1, the 2, and the 3. So there you go, your winners. And now in this triple threat, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Your thoughts on the match?
Match was good and great, and Owens and Rollins, man, like we're saying, they're a damn good tag team together. They had some great combinations. They had the one where Owens at the cannonball up top, then Seth came right back after him with the frog splash, got a 2 false finish 2 count. The stunner and curb stomp was a hell of a finisher. I mean, it would be. So if they're going to stick them together as a tag team, they would be a really formidable tag team. I don't see them taking the titles off of Gable and Otis right now because of everything we've heard. But at this point, if they're forcing them into this tag team, maybe the things we heard might not be as far as long as we thought. I don't know. I mean, at least they're throwing that curveball on there because that match now, what they're promoting for is March. Well, the Madison Square Garden show is the Saturday, but the Raw will be that Monday after the Madison Square Garden show. So I don't know. If things are supposed to happen with Mr. 316 and the glass breaking against Owens, maybe something's going on where it's not going to happen because he hasn't mentioned the Texas thing either, which was kind of preluding this. So I don't know if it's signed, sealed, and delivered as everyone thinks it might be.
Since we are still on here right now, excuse me, but I'm just throwing out here, not sure if you care or not, but according to reports, Drake Maverick has once again signed with WWE. He has re-signed with the company.
Well, third time's is something. He'll get released in 2 years. Where would he go, though? That's the is he getting more of a backstage role or something? I would have to assume.
Well, according to here, he re-signed. He's actually been back, it seems like, for the past several weeks. It says that he's now working behind the scenes for the Raw creative team, and he started reportedly, according to PW Insider, 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Okay, well, it's a guy that wants to be there. He did. And who knows how much of it was a work or not when
holding
he went
off
to social media.
Well, you're holding off being deported as long as you can, aren't you?
Well, that's right. There's that deal too. So I don't know. He seems though that he wants to be there because, like I said, he did the whole thing on social media. He won the contract in that tournament on NXT when Triple H gave him the contract, and I mean, it's a guy that wants to be there, and he's showing it. And I guess if he's creating, creatively to the team, helping him out, I don't know if he might have some history with Pritchard back in TNA. I think they were there at the same time, so he might know, a little bit of the workings and dealings on, and another guy they can bring on the team there. So I guess it's good for him if he's got it.
Biggest things I got out of the show tonight was number one, they've already begun teasing the return of Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
They started some trolling there.
But now I think they were wise, though, by not bringing him out right away. I'm starting to buy into that because you were onto this, and I disagreed with you last when we talked about, bring him on. He'll be a big pop. But I think you were right. Give a little distance. Give it a little time so you can reintroduce him and actually not have that opportunity where fans will just boo the shit out of him.
Yeah. And then it seems that with the phenomenal tag drop by Edge that we got another match that's already now been set up for Mania.
Yes.
Styles and Edge.
I mean, this card, it's shaping up. We know the ticket sales for this. We know for sure they ain't where they want them to be. And they put themselves in this situation of doing the 2-night shit in a 100,000-seat stadium. I don't know why they thought that was going to work. I really don't. You can't really do that. I mean, they don't play the Super Bowl back to back. They don't play the AFC and NFC championship game and then the Super Bowl the next night in the same damn capacity stadium. So I don't know who the hell they think they are if like a league like the NFL or something like that couldn't fill the damn stadium like that. But this is the state. This is the situation they're in. This is what they got to deal with.
Overall, I would say for this show, I guess if we would grade it from a 1 to a 10, I'd give them a 7. It was the first show. I mean, I think really the only thing I honestly, truly did not care for was the
24/7 bullshit was terrible.
Well, I was going to say Rhea Ripley and Nikki A.S.H.
That too. We didn't need that.
So I got a 7. I think that's good enough for a B- on the show coming out of Elimination Chamber.
I'm with you with a B-, and I do have to say the Raws they've been getting a little better. They better than what they were. I think I'm trying to remember like the lead in and all that. I mean, last week going into the go home, I think it was kind of weak, but I don't think they were expecting too much eyeballs on it with them being on Sci-Fi. But I've got to give them a little credit. The Raws seem to be getting a little better. Still way too goddamn long because it's 3 hours, but I'll give them some props.
Show actually had a good flow, I thought.
Yes, and if they can continue this going into Mania, good things should continue to happen.
Yeah. For Slade
PJ,
we're the Bush League Mud Show. Listen and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Let us know in the comments section what you thought of tonight's Raw from Columbia, South Carolina, February 21st, 2022. Follow us on social media as well. We'll follow back at Bush League MS Pod. We'll come at you back in a few days with a AEW Dynamite review. All right, later, guys.